Ex-Toon youth with heroin addiction unwittingly chose himself for drugs test. Former Newcastle United prodigy Anthony Perry unwittingly ended his own football career when he picked his own name out of a hat and put himself forward for a drugs test that found Class A substances inside his body, former teammate Bradley Orr said to the Under the Cosh podcast. In 1999, 17-year-old Perry was touted as a future star after being signed by then Magpies boss and former England manager Kevin Keegan. However, he soon confessed that he was battling a serious heroin addiction to the Daily Mirror after a urine sample taken by a random drugs test proved he had a Class A substance in his system. After being sent on a rehabilitation course by the Premier League giants, Perry was soon shown the door by the club days after he returned, as he was among 4 youths arrested for throwing a bottle through the window of a fish and chip shop. But the vicious circle of events that culminated in the teenager not fulfilling his footballing dreams started when he accidentally selected himself to be put forward for a drugs test. And Perry used to live in Merton in the dormitory, the one we stayed at in Maidencastle, and used to live in that, Orr said to the Under the Cosh podcast. Now that dormitory was for the lads who were from out of town and we used to think what the F is he doing living here when it's probably closer for him to come home. He was a good player, a big hard B as well, but the drug testers came in one day. Because he was injured he picked the names out of the hat for the drugs test and picked his own name out. He picked his own name out of the hat and the club sent him to rehab on the quiet, but he sold his story to the newspapers. But it wasn't performance-enhancing drugs, it was heroin. Perry was selected for the Newcastle U17's side and was even offered a 5-year contract by the club. However, his fateful curiosity to try the drug before picking his own name out of the hat meant he never did get to achieve his childhood dream of donning the black and white. It was curiosity more than anything else, Perry said to the Daily Mirror in the summer of 1999. But it gave me a buzz, and I tried it a few more times. Then I realized I was dependent on it. I reckon it took only 3 weeks, which is terrifying. I cursed that moment. Until then, I'd always stayed clear of drugs, even though they were all around me as most of my friends took them. I fell into the trap. Soon, I was getting pains in my arms and legs and knew I was addicted. I missed training sessions. Sometimes my muscles went into spasm, so I couldn't perform the way I knew I could. I knew the reason, but I couldn't stop taking heroin. I even lost weight.